Hello everybody, it's Emma Etheridge here from Wedding Biz Bootcamp, and I'm talking about pricing today. Now, pricing is one of those things that most people kind of recoil about. They don't like to think about pricing. They don't like to think about how to price. And there's lots of different questions around pricing. What is the right price to charge? How do you write it? How do you charge it? How do you talk about your prices in the products that you have? Now, pricing is very, very important for two very obvious reasons. Firstly, you need to make a profit. Your pricing is all about your business. It's how you grow your business. So if you are pricing your goods at too cheap, then you won't be making profit. But it will also have another impact. It's like with anything. If you see something that is too cheap, you feel suspicious about it. You lose the kind of sense of quality with it. You think that there is going to be something wrong, even though there probably isn't. It's that kind of usual story about the kind of Tesco value stuff. When you've got Tesco value, you've got Tesco own brand, you've then got Tesco kind of luxury brand, then you've got the branded products. Most people will go for, if they're trying to save a little bit of cash, they'll go for the Tesco own brand, which is probably exactly the same as the cheapest one, but they will never buy that one because you just think cheap stuff, it's not going to be great quality. It's going to be rubbish. So it is the same with pricing in your wedding business. You need to be pricing what you are worth. So whether you sell lots and do them cheaply, if that's your business model, then that is fine. If you have a business model where you are selling less, but you are charging more, then you need to sell less stuff. So I just wanted to talk very briefly today about pricing and how you can really focus on getting it right in your wedding business. Now, one of the questions that I get asked all of the time is, should I put prices on my website? Now, I know that this can be a bit of an uncomfortable thing, and really there is no right or wrong answer. I always advise my clients to test things out to see how it works. Personally, I think that you have to have the prices on your website. Everyone will have a different opinion, but personally, I think that having your prices on your website is key, and these are the reasons why. Firstly, brides will have a budget in mind and they will roughly know how much they want to be spending on the different elements of their wedding. Now, I talk quite a lot about creating desire with your products and services. And when you create this desire, the price element kind of falls down the priority list a little bit. The price element isn't quite as prominent. If they really want something, they will have it. If they really want something, their desire will take over their rationale and they will say, sod it, I'm gonna have it. It's what I want. So you have to create that desire about your products and services, and you can do this when you talk about your pricing, and I'm going to share some tips with you in a moment that will help you to figure out how you can do that. But putting your prices on your website means that you're being very transparent. If a bride has a budget that she has in mind and you're way over budget, then she won't waste your time. She won't waste the time that you then, if she emails you asking for a quote and then you spend, however slick your system is. And I know some people's systems aren't quite as slick as I would like them to be. So when someone sends you a quote, it might be that you spend half an hour, finding the last quote that you did and kind of figuring out all the different quotes and the different costs and all of that kind of stuff. It could be that it only takes you 5 minutes, but that is still 5 minutes that you are wasting. So if a bride asks for a quote, but she knows that you are within a price range that she is comfortable for her, then you're not wasting your time. So having your prices on your website enables a bride to go, yeah, I'm going to ask for a quote, or no, they're way too expensive for me. So it saves you time. It also means that you will attract high quality leads, so that when a bride does land on your website and she looks at your product or service and she realizes that the price is in her price range, she is a real genuine opportunity for you to convert that to a booked bride, because she's genuinely interested. You're getting interested brides come through, they are high quality, they know the prices that you charge, and they are willing to pay that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking for a quote. Now, the cons of adding your pricing on your website is obvious. It's your competitors. But you can't worry about your competitors. If your competitors are spending their time looking over your website to see what you're up to, then take that as a compliment. It means that you are on their radar. It means that you are what they're aspiring to be. So if a competitor does come onto your website to have a look at prices, don't feel icky about it or don't feel worried about it, because it just means that they're aspiring to be you, which is fantastic. And I'm not being funny. If a competitor really wants to know how much you charge, they will find out one way or another. So you can't worry about that too much. There will always be competitors kind of looking at different things, and you can't let that get into your mind space. So I would ask you one question. If you are worried about why you shouldn't put your prices on your website, I would ask you, what is putting you off? What is the thing that you are worried about putting your prices on your website? Forget about the competitor bit. It might be that you think you're too expensive. It might be that you actually don't know what your prices are, which I know sounds really strange, but it means that you haven't really looked at how much your products cost you to make and how much profit you want to make on the back of them. So ask yourself, what is really putting you off from putting your prices up on your website? Now, when you do put your prices on, there are some tips that will really help you to move that kind of mooching bride who is on your website and she's looking at your goods and she's looking at your prices, how you move them to get that inquiry, how you push them further down that line of them actually contacting you to say, oh, can you give me a quote on this? So here are just a couple of tips. So when you put your prices on your website, you have to be really, really clear. You have to be clear about what is included, what they get as part of the actual physical thing that they receive. Let's say, for example, you're a wedding stationer. So within the stationery pack that they have, it might just be that it includes purely just the invitation. It might be that it includes the RSVP. It might include a kind of a band that goes around, the belly band that goes around the invitation. It might include the envelope. Every single bit of it that it includes, make sure you are extremely clear about what physical thing they get. Now, if you are a service product, let's say, for example, you're a singer, and they are inquiring about having you to sing at their wedding, be really clear about how many hours they get, when roughly you would like to get there. You probably do bespoke and tailor your packages, but give them an idea of how many hours they get from you if you have that package on your website. Again, if you're a photographer, there will likely be different pricing packages that you have as a photographer. So be really, really super duper clear about how much they get as part of each package. So this is the actual physical service and the product that they get. The second point is to be really clear about the extra stuff that they get, the stuff that kind of builds up the package. So let's say, for example, using the example of the wedding stationer, they physically get the invitation, but what do they get from the service that they have from you? So do they get unlimited proofs? Do they get a hard copy before it's printed? Do they get, what kind of communication do they get from you? So the kind of service stuff, the customer service things, what do they get as part of them being your bride? What is the experience like of them being your bride? So talk about the kind of the soft stuff, the customer relationship stuff, the stuff that they won't even think about until you write it down. So let's say, for example, you use really high quality materials in what you do. Perhaps you're a cake maker. It might be that you are really specific about the quality of materials that you use within the cakes that you make, and talk about that, because that will be something that won't even have entered into their mind. But as soon as they see it, then they will know that you use those quality things. A really non-related example of this is when you're trying to sell a house. If you're trying to sell a house and you've got your washing everywhere, if you haven't got your washing everywhere, if you haven't got kind of an airing rack or whatever with your washing on, then the couple that come and see your house won't even think about where to put their washing if they bought it. Now, if they see your washing all over the place, they will think, oh, hang on a minute. When we do our washing's going to be all over the place as well. So it's something that doesn't even enter their mind until they see it. And this is the same with this kind of description. Unless you are very clear about all the added extras that they get, they won't even think about it. And if you can imagine that if they're comparing you with another competitor, then that competitor hasn't put that stuff on there, then you will automatically be the preferred one, because they're saying, oh, look at all this extra stuff that we get with this supplier compared to the other supplier who we just got, what it is that they do. They haven't told us about all of the extra bits and bobs that we get as part of being their bride. So think about those extra bits, those added bits that you add in. And it may be things that you do automatically without even thinking that they are extra. But just write down all of the things that you do for a customer, all of the things that you do for an order, all of the things you do for a bride, and put that into your sales page, put that into your pricing, so that when people see that item, that goodie, that service, and then they see the price and they see what is included, it makes it feel totally desirable. They really want it because they can see that they're going to have a fantastic service from you. So the third point is to show the value, show what they get in terms of the extra stuff, the value that they get, the feelings that they get from having your product or service. Now, this might be something that you put into the description. So talk about if for example, it's something that you've got which is a specific wedding theme, talk about that, your product being part of that theme. Imagine having this at your wedding. Imagine the feeling of your guests when they walk into the room and they see these beautiful flowers in the centre of each table. If you're a florist, for example, build that value, that feeling, that emotion into your description, and this will really help you to convert as well. The fourth really good thing when you're looking at your pricing is to add testimonials into the page as well. So let's say, for example, you've got your product page and you've got your product and service, you've got your description, you've got your pricing, and then underneath that, give that reassurance. So put some testimonials under there. Don't put loads under there, but just put one or two under there, which will, if the bride and groom have kind of worked down the page and they've liked the thing that they've seen, they've looked at the description and thought, oh yeah, that all sounds really good. And they've looked at the price and they've thought, yeah, the price kind of works for us. Yeah, it's within budget, but yeah, I really want it because I've seen this description of how it's going to make me feel. And if they're kind of and ahhing at the bottom there, they then look a bit further down and then there's this cracking testimonial from somebody that says, I could not have imagined my wedding without this person part of it. And, the service was fantastic. This was great, blah, 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 blah. The testimonials that you get from your existing customers. Put one of those there. So it just adds that level of reassurance that what they are going to get for that money is cracking and it's brilliant and it's really going to help them to click that get a quote or buy now button. My fifth point to you is don't be confusing. And I see this an awful lot when it comes to postage. You need to make it as clear as possible what is included, as we've mentioned before. But when it comes to postage, people can tie themselves up in knots. So for example, if you've got an order that is between a certain weight, obviously with the way that postage changes now, you're being charged various different things and you need to incorporate postage as part of your pricing. Of course you do. However, do not get confusing. Do not say, if your parcel weighs between so and so and so and so, you will be charged this. If your parcel weighs between this and this, you will be charged this. That is too confusing for the bride and groom, and they will think, I don't know how heavy this is going to be. You tell me. So just be really clear. Just either set one postage, which is personally what I do, just set one postage which is across the entire order, or say between an order between, say, £0 and £50 will be this much, between 50 and 100 will be this much, between this and this will be this much. So it's very clear. Don't do it on weight. And you will win and you will lose some. It might be that you go to the post office and you weigh it and it's £5 more than what you've charged them. But you probably take one the following week which is less than what you've charged, so you will win or lose, and don't get too hung up on it. The amount of time that you can spend trying to figure out the postage is totally wasted. Just go with it and just don't confuse it for your bride and groom. So those are just some tips when it comes to your pricing. Other things that are fantastic when you're trying to convert people is to have beautiful images on your page as well. You know, your images are what is going to attract people to your page. Your image is the thing that's going to attract brides to click through so they can see what the price is of the product. So make sure your images are beautiful. It creates that desire, it creates that want and that I must have this for my wedding reaction that you want to achieve. The other final thing that I want to say to you is make it obvious what they need to do to get a quote. So don't have this, you know, beautiful page all drafted out with all of your kind of descriptions about your products and the pricing and all of these emotions and feelings that they get when they purchase it. And then don't have a button that says click here for a quote or click here to buy now. Make it really, really obvious. So if it is to quote, make sure it's obvious and it's easy for them to be able to do that. So have a contact form there, have your email address there, have your phone number there if you accept phone calls. You know, make it really clear, really obvious. Don't let them lose, you know, let them go away from that page because they can't find out how to contact you, because you may potentially lose them then. If you if it's a buy now thing, if it's a product that they need to buy right there and then make it really big, a really big button that says buy now, and let people know what happens when they click that, so that they know that they're not going to just be taken straight away and they're kind of immediately buying it. Make it obvious what happens to them. So I really hope that that helps you when it comes to pricing products, services, packages on your website. Now this is relevant to any single wedding professional, whether you are a let's say, for example, you sell jewellery, you sell cakes, flowers, you're a venue, you're a wedding planner, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you have really clear packages on your website. You really need to make sure that you are making it as clear and as obvious and as easy as possible for a bride to find out information from you. Forget about the competitors. Do not worry about them. If they are on your website sussing you out, take it as a compliment, because it means that they want to try and, you know, be like you. So just take it as a compliment and do not let the competitor element worry you. There are competitors out there in the marketplace. It's a busy marketplace. The way that you can stand out and be the one that brides want to book is by putting all of this emotion, this personality, this know, like and trust factor into the products and services that you create for your brides and grooms. That is what is going to set you apart. So comment below this video, let me know how you feel about your pricing, how you feel about the packages that you've got, whether you've got any questions at all about why you're worried about putting your pricing on your website. Your action from today is to take a step back and think, right, why am I not putting my prices on my website? If you are putting your prices on your website, take a look at them and see how you can improve it. Look at it from the shoes of your ideal bride. You know, what is it about your pricing, the page that they land on, that is going to make them click that get a quote now button? So pop into the group, let me know how you find it, let me know any comments that you've got, just pop below and leave a comment, and I shall speak to you really soon. Take care, bye bye.